I once went on a rant in class about how some Christians correctly say that we have to turn our whole life over to God, but then they completely misunderstand how to do that, and then they screw up other people with feelings of guilt and shame and inadequacy, and they mess up their kids. That rant ended with me explaining what it really means to give 100% of our lives to God. At this, one clever image bearer asked, "How can I include God in my sleep? I can't have godly dreams every night." That's funny. Godly dreams? Good one. After a pause, an idea came to me and I turned to Psalm 1. That didn't help me a bit because I was looking for Psalm 4. My idea was that by adopting a more Hebrew, less Western concept of the day, we can make our physical act of sleep a little more sacred. We can sort of turn our sleep over to God. Wow, if I do that, I could give God 30% of my life right out of the gate. Add to that church and then devotions and... No, that's exactly the wrong approach. You need to go watch that video about that rant. Anyway, back to reframing our day in a more Hebrew way. What do you mean by the Hebrew concept of the day? This ancient concept is apparent in the ordering of Psalm 4 and 5. Psalm 4 includes these lines: "I will lie down and sleep in peace, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Psalm 5 says, "In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice, and in the morning I lay my requests before you and wait in expectation." The editors of the Psalms place the evening poem before the psalm about the morning. First evening, then morning. In Genesis 1 we find the same pattern. The first day of creation is described when it says, "And there was evening, and there was morning the first day." A few verses later, the same thing after the second day. "And there was evening, and there was morning the second day." You get the idea. The day begins in the evening. Anyone who has watched Tevye hurry home before nightfall in Fiddler on the Roof knows that for the Jews, the Sabbath starts on Friday night.
You'll be late for the Sabbath.
I won't be late.
You'll be late.
I won't be late. I won't be late.
But it's not just the Sabbath day that starts in the evening. In the culture from which the Bible came, every day starts in the evening. Okay, so the day starts in the evening. What difference could that possibly make? Thinking about the day starting at night will change how we think about sleeping, how we think about the day, and how we think about ourselves. In our culture, the day starts in the morning. It starts when the alarm goes off, or 10 minutes after it goes the second time. Exactly. The way we think of the day starts with me. I must be pretty important if the day doesn't start until I roll out of bed. It's like the universe has been waiting around for my arrival before it can start doing its thing. I am now here, and thus the day may now commence. And we do this every day. Get up and the day begins. Repetition. Every day. These kinds of things shape us. They shape our view of ourselves. No wonder we think of ourselves, as Hobbes says, as a big screaming deal. So what happens if we start to think of the day starting in the evening? The day starts when I stop. It takes me off of center stage. The first 7 hours of every day pass with me drooling on my pillow. But God hasn't slept. He's been at work, active while I am passive. I join His day, His pattern, His plan, already in progress. When we wake up, our task is to fit into His plan of His day. Big difference. I've been trying to live in Hebrew time for at least a dozen years. In the evening, I try to remember to turn every new day over to God. I tell Him and remind myself that I will step into it about 10 hours from now. And then every morning when I wake up, or almost every morning, I say, "Good morning, Lord, and thank you for this day. What do you have planned?" Understanding the day in this way reframes the 7 hours that I sleep, in that it reminds me of my cosmic insignificance in the context of His divine providence. It reminds me that the day is a gift for which I am grateful. It also reframes the hours I'm awake. All my waking day, I remember that I am carrying out the plans of the all-powerful King of the universe, who I know loves me because He's there every morning to hear me say, "Good morning, Lord." And then perhaps we start having conversations with God throughout the day, like Tevye.
Dear God, was that necessary? Did you have to make him lame just before the Sabbath?
I'm thinking we need to dig into this self-centeredness a little bit more. Stay tuned for a few videos about that topic. But for now, thank you, and we'll see you next time.